morning students. So in our last class we completed P block elements. So that is the first unit in your syllabus. So we completed P block. So the elements present in P block and what are the physical properties and what are the preparations, and also finally discussed about the compounds of all group elements. So that is starting from 13th group up to 17th group elements. So that is boron family, carbon family, nitrogen, oxygen, halogens. So these are the groups of elements present in P block. So this is 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th as well as 17th group elements. So we discussed all the properties of all these elements, so physical properties from top to bottom, and also what are the compounds of all these elements. So for boron, so compounds are diboron as well as boron nitride and also borazole. So all are compounds of boron family. And in the case of carbon family, we discussed about silicones and silanes. Silicones as well as silanes. Whereas in the case of nitrogen, we discussed about two compounds. One is hydrazine NH2 NH2, and the second one is hydroxylamine NH2OH. So these are the compounds of nitrogen. Similarly, for oxygen, we discussed about types of oxides. So these are the compounds of oxygen. And finally, we discussed about halogen family compound, that is nothing but interhalogens. Interhalogens. So this unit contains groups of elements from 13 to 17 as well as physical properties, and finally compounds of all these elements and also structures. So this is the end of the unit 1 syllabus. Now I am going to start second unit, that is physical chemistry. So in this unit, the first topic is solid state. So first one is solid state. So first of all, what is a solid? So we already know any matter can exist in three phases. That is either solid phase or liquid phase or a gas phase. So any matter that is always can exist in three phases. So either it is solid or a liquid or it is a gas. Now what are solids? So solids are having a particular or permanent geometry and also volume. Geometry and volume. So these are having a characteristic properties like geometry as well as volume. So whereas liquids, that is nothing but a solution, does not having any volume, and also gases does not have volume. So it is equal to volume of the container. Whereas in the case of solids, so these are having a particular geometry as well as a particular volume. So the characteristics of these, so that is always solids are always incompressible. Incompressible is nothing but these are rigid. So these are the four important characteristics of solids. So first one is these are having a particular geometry as well as a particular volume, and the third one is solids are always incompressible. So these are not incompressible, that means all solids are rigid in nature. So these properties of a solid are mainly due to the arrangement of atoms in a solid. So in the case of solid, so this is, if it is a solid, all the atoms are arranged in regular manner, and also all atoms are closely packed with each other. So there is a small distance between the atoms, and also all atoms are arranged in regular order. So one atom followed by next atom, again followed by next atom. So this is the arrangement of atoms present in a solid. Whereas in the case of liquids and gases, the distance between the atoms is very high, and also all atoms are not in regular order. So that is irregular order in the case of liquids as well as gases. But in the case of solid, these atoms are arranged in regular order. Regular order. And also the distance between the atoms is very less. Distance is less between the atoms, therefore there exists a strong attractions between the atoms. That is why it is rigid and it is incompressible. So that is why it is having a particular geometry as well as a particular volume. So the characteristics of a solid are mainly due to the arrangement of atoms in a solid. So all the atoms are arranged in regular manner. So that is why there exists a strong attractions between the atoms, and hence all these are rigid as well as incompressible. So basing on the position of the atoms, solids are classified into two types. So these are classified into two types. So first one is crystalline solid. Crystalline solid. And the second one is amorphous solid. So what is crystalline solid and what is amorphous solid? If suppose a solid having a particular geometry and shape, then that solid is known as a crystalline solid. Whereas if a solid having irregular geometry, then it is known as a amorphous solid. In both solids, that is crystalline as well as amorphous solid, the atoms are arranged in regular manner, but there is a slight deviation in its structure, then it is nothing but an amorphous solid. So whereas if the atoms are arranged in a regular manner, and hence if it is having a particular geometry along with shape or volume, then it is nothing but a crystalline solid. And also crystalline solids are always anisotropic in nature, whereas amorphous solids are always isotropic in nature. So crystals are anisotropic, whereas amorphous are isotropic. So what is aniso and iso? So aniso means different, iso means same. So it means crystals having different properties in different directions. So that means in a crystal, the value of some physical property along x-axis is different with y-axis, and also it is different with z-axis. So it means the physical property depends on direction. So if it is depends on direction, then that property is known as anisotropic property. So that is different, anisotropic. Whereas amorphous crystals are always isotropic. So it means this property is same along all directions. So isotropic means iso means same. So tropic means properties. So same properties. So properties are same in all directions. Then that is nothing but isotropic in nature. So here amorphous crystals are isotropic, whereas crystalline solids are anisotropic, so it means the property depends on direction, whereas here in the case of amorphous, property does not depends on direction. That is why this property is same in all directions along x, y as well as z. So that is why this is nothing but isotropic in nature, whereas crystals are anisotropic in nature. And one more difference between crystal and amorphous is melting points, its melting points. So crystals always having, crystalline solids always having a sharp melting point, always having a sharp melting point. So at that point, that is at the temperature, a solid is converted into liquid, so it is having a particular melting point, so that is nothing but a sharp melting point. Whereas amorphous solid is having a wide range of melting points. So these are melted at a different temperature, so wide range of temperature. So there is a range, within that range only that amorphous solid is converted into liquid, whereas crystals are always having a sharp melting point, but amorphous liquids are always having a wide range of melting point. So these are the differences between amorphous as well as solids. If suppose NaCl, sodium chloride, so sodium chloride is a crystal, so this is crystalline in nature. So sodium plus Cl minus, so these are the atoms present in that crystal. So all atoms are arranged in a regular manner, so that is Na followed by Cl, again followed by Na. So here the atoms are arranged in a regular manner, and also NaCl having a particular geometry and also volume, and also it is rigid and incompressible. So it follows all the rules, and hence this is a crystalline solid. Crystalline solid. So amorphous examples, any powders. All powders are amorphous, so that means all are having a particular geometry, but their geometry is deviate basing on the container, and also having some particular volume and a wide range of melting points, and also anisotropic in nature. So all these are example for amorphous solid characters. So powders are the examples for amorphous solids. So now next one is important essay question from this unit, that is laws of crystallography. Laws of crystallography. So first of all, what is crystallography? So crystallography is a branch of science. It explains the study of crystals. It is a branch of science explain the study of crystals. So study of crystals means the structure of crystal. So that science which deals with the structure of crystal is nothing but crystallography. So in crystallography, that is the study of crystals, there are three important laws. So first law is, so this is important 10 marks question in your syllabus, laws of crystallography, essay question. So there are three laws. First law is law of constant interfacial angle. So this is first law. Law of constancy or constant interfacial angle. So according to this law, if suppose NaCl, look at the crystal of NaCl. So this is like NaCl. So here these are the faces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces, and this is nothing but interfacial angle. That is the angle between two faces. So in the case of sodium chloride crystal, the angle between two interfaces is always equal to 90 degrees. If suppose NaCl is converted into this structure, if the angle between two faces is 90 degrees, again it is converted into another structure like this. So this is also structure of a crystal. So here this is the interfacial angle, but this is always again equal to 90 degrees. And also if it is converted into like this, now again the interfacial angle is 90 degrees. So what does this mean? If suppose in a crystal, basing on the crystallization, that is nothing but formation of a crystal. So basing on the formation of the crystal, each crystal having any structure. So here it is similar to benzene like structure, and here it is something, and again it is converted into another structure. So during these structures, maybe the length of the face is different. Length of the face is different, and also the shape of the crystal is different. Shape of the crystal is different, but the interfacial angle between two phases is always constant. But the interfacial angle, so that is nothing but two phases, interfacial angle is always constant. So this is the statement for first law. So what is the statement? So whether the structure of the crystal may be different or length of the face, so here it is having a small length, whereas in this case it is having large length, so its length of the face may be variant with respect to structure, and here it also it is having a different length. So it means NaCl having a face length of different length value. So it is small, here it is large, where it is very small. So maybe length of the face is maybe different, that is basing on crystallization, that is formation of a crystal, and also geometry is different, but the interfacial angle is always constant for a given crystal. That is for NaCl, interfacial angle, that is angle between two faces, it is always 90 degrees. So here 90, 90, 90. So according to first statement, so during crystallization the length of the face is different, or maybe the shape of the crystal is different, but interfacial angle is always constant. So this is first law, that is law of constant interfacial angle. Now second law. Second law is law of rational indices. Law of rational indices. Law of rational indices. So look at the diagram. So this is x-axis, this is y, and this is z, or simply x, y, and z. So this is a plane of the crystal. This is a plane, so naming as L, M, N, and there is a small unit present in the crystal, that is nothing but unit cell. So it is A, and this is B, and this is C. So here it is the origin. So look at the diagram. X, Y, Z are the axis, coordinate axis, and L, M, N. So it is a plane present in the crystal. A plane present in the crystal, and ABC. ABC is a unit cell. So that is the smallest repeating unit present in a crystal is known as unit cell. So that means every crystal is associated with a number of a smallest repeating units. That repeating unit is nothing but a unit cell. So here L, M, N. So this is a plane of the crystal which cuts the coordinate axis x, y, z, and here ABC is the smallest repeating unit present in that crystal, that is nothing but unit cell. So ABC is the unit cell, L, M, N are the plane of a crystal, and X, Y, Z are the coordination axis. Now look at the diagram. So this is origin, and the distance from origin to unit cell A face is small a. Let it is equal to small a. So here, so the distance between OA, that is taken as a small a, and the distance between OB is taken as small b, and it is equal to small c, where A, B, C are the intercept values. So these are the intercept along X, along Y, as well as along Z. So the distance from origin to A, that is nothing but a small a, that is the intercept of unit cell along X axis, and B is intercept of unit cell along Y, and C is intercept of, so this is the intercept, small letter C, intercept of unit cell along Z axis. Now according to second law, that is law of rational indices, the ratio of intercepts, that is OA is to OB is to OC, these are always a simple whole numbers, that is its values are always equal to either 2A is to 4B is to 3C. So where 2, 4, 3 are simple whole numbers, so that is nothing but rational numbers. Therefore the intercepts of a unit cell along X, Y, Z axis is always present in a simple whole numbers or in rational numbers. So these are the coefficient values, so 2, 4 and 3. So these are the coefficient values of unit cell along XYZ axis. So along x-axis its intercept is equal to 2a, where 2 is nothing but coefficient of unit cell along x-axis, and 4 is nothing but coefficient of unit cell along y. Similarly 3 is coefficient of unit cell along z-axis. Now the ratio of all these intercepts, it is always present in a simple whole numbers. So these are the whole numbers 2, 4, 3. Therefore the ratio of intercepts of a unit cell along XYZ axis is always present in a simple whole numbers, that is 2A is to 4B is to 3C, where 2, 4, 3 are nothing but coefficients and are also known as V's indices, where 2, 4, 3 are simply nothing but V's indices. So therefore the definition for V's indices is the coefficient of a unit cell along XYZ axis, that is the unit cell which cuts the coordinate axis 2, 4, 3. So here the numbers 2, 4, 3 are nothing but V's indices. So these are the coefficients are simply intercepts of unit cell along XYZ axis. So these V's indices are maybe any values. So these are any values, that is 0, 1, 2, 3 and also 1 by 2, 3 by 2 and also 1 by infinity. So whatever it may be, it is simply a rational number. These are also replaced by Miller indices. So these are V's indices and now Miller indices. So Miller indices are simply nothing but reciprocal of V's indices. Reciprocal of V's indices are known as Miller indices, and Miller indices are denoted by HKL. So this is the representation of a Miller indices. So Miller indices are always equal to reciprocal of V's indices. If suppose if a crystal having 2A is to 4B is to 3C, then 2, 4, 3 are V's indices. And then Miller indices are equal to reciprocal, that is 1 by 2 is to 1 by 4 is to 1 by 3. So these are nothing but Miller indices. If suppose for example, if a crystal cuts the coordinate axis at infinity A is to 2B is to 3C. So this is the intercept values of a unit cell which cuts the coordinate axis. Along x is infinity A and along y is 2B and along z it is 3C. Then what are the V's indices? Therefore V's indices is equal to so infinity value 2 and 3. So these are the coefficients. So therefore infinity comma 2 and in 3. So these are nothing but V's indices. Now for Miller indices, so taking reciprocals, therefore Miller indices is equal to 1 by infinity, 1 by 2 and 1 by 3. So now HKL, these are the Miller indices, that is equal to 1 by infinity is simply 0 and taking so 2 into 3, 6 as LCM, therefore 2 into 3, that is 3 here and it is 2. So simply this is 1 by 2 is to 1 by 3. So 1 by 6 is the intercept LCM, therefore it is 3 and this is 2 by 6. So simply 0, 3 and 2. So these are the reciprocals of these values. So therefore these are nothing but Miller indices. So H is nothing but a Miller indices along x axis and K is Miller indices along y and L is along z. Now the distance between the planes, present in a crystal are given by 1 by d square is equal to h square by a square, k square by b square and l square by c square. So this is the formula for determination of the distance between parallel planes present in a crystal. So this is a coordinate axis. So this is a crystal plane and this is also one more crystal plane. Then the distance between these two parallel planes, that is nothing but d. So this is the distance between parallel planes, d value. So that is determined by using the formula 1 by d square is equal to h square by a square and k square by b square and also l square by c square, where d is distance between the planes. Please wait. Right, where d is distance between the planes and HKL are nothing but Miller indices, and finally ABC, small a, small b, small c. So these are the length of the faces along xyz axis, Therefore, by knowing the values of HKL as well as ABC values, that is length of the face along x, along y and along z. So by knowing these values, we determine the value of D, that is distance between the parallel planes. If suppose our crystal is a cubic crystal, so what is cubic crystal? So this is cubic crystal. All the faces are in equal length. Then that crystal is nothing but cubic crystal. So look at this crystal. So this is cubic. So this is along x and this is along y and this is along z. So this is a crystal here. The length of the face along x axis, this is A. And also this is length of the crystal along B, this is also A and this is also equal to A. It means all distances are equal. So here if it is A and it is B and it is C, that means all are equal. So simply it is equal to A. So it is having only one face length value. That means all the length of the faces are equal along xyz axis. Therefore it is having a single face length, that is A. So this is the characteristic property of a cubic crystal. Cubic crystal, that means all face length are equal. So if all the length of the faces are equal, then that crystal is nothing but a cubic crystal. So in this case, so A, B, C are the length of the faces along xyz axis, and finally distance is given by 1 by d square is equal to h square by a square plus k square by again a square and l square by a square, because A equal to B equal to C. For a cubic crystal, all the length are equal. So from this equation we get 1 by a square taken as common, then it is simply h square plus k square plus l square. So by using this formula, finally derive d value, that is 1 by d square, and then d square is equal to, so taking reciprocal, a square divided by h square plus k square plus l square. So finally distance d is equal to, so a square becomes root a square, that is simply a divided by square root of h square plus k square plus l square. So this is the formula for determination of the distance between parallel planes present in a crystal, where A is length of the crystal either along x or y or z, because in all directions the length is equal, A equal to B equal to C. Therefore simply A is length of the crystal, and the remaining HKL, all these are Miller indices along x as well as y and also z axis. So HKL, by knowing the HKL value and the length of the crystal, then we derive the distance between the parallel planes. So in centimeters, distance is always centimeters, right? So this is the calculation of distance between parallel planes from second law of solid or crystallography. So first law is law of constant interfacial angles, and the second one is law of rational indices. And now most important third law, that is law of symmetry. Law of symmetry. So first of all, what is symmetry? So symmetry is nothing but arrangement. Symmetry is nothing but arrangement. So in a crystal, how the angles are arranged, how the points are arranged, that is nothing but arrangement of atoms in a crystal. So that is explained by law of symmetry. So every crystal having three symmetries. Every crystal having three symmetries. So these are, first one is plane of symmetry. First one is plane of symmetry, and the second one is axis of symmetry, and the third one is center of symmetry. So every crystal having three types of symmetries. First one is plane of symmetry, second one axis of symmetry, and last one is center of symmetry. Now what is a plane of symmetry? So first heading, plane of symmetry. Right. So plane of symmetry is nothing but, imagine a plane which is passing through the crystal. If that plane cuts the crystal into two equal halves, then that plane is nothing but it is a plane of symmetry, or simply crystal is having a plane of symmetry. So what is the definition? A plane passing through crystal and cuts the crystal into two equal halves. Cuts the crystal into two equal halves. So equal halves in this sense, both are mirror images to each other. So two equal halves. So that is nothing but mirror images. Both are mirror images. Then the crystal having a plane of symmetry. So any imaginary plane that is passing through crystal, if suppose that plane cuts the crystal into two mirror images, then that crystal having a plane of symmetry. So here there are two types of planes. There are two types of planes. So first plane is, so this is small a types of plane. So first one is rectangular plane. Rectangular plane of symmetry. Rectangular plane of symmetry. So rectangular plane, that is nothing but it is a plane. So definitely it is passing the crystal and cuts the crystal into two equal halves. But here rectangular plane. So rectangular plane means it is a plane passing through, if it is a plane passing through opposite faces of a crystal and cuts the crystal into two equal halves. And cuts the crystal into two equal halves, that is both are mirror images. So if suppose any imaginary plane, it is passing through opposite face of the crystal. If suppose it cuts the crystal into two equal halves, then that plane is nothing but a rectangular plane. So therefore rectangular planes are always passing through opposite faces of a crystal and cuts the crystal into two equal halves. So here look at the crystal. So this is the crystal. Right. So this is a crystal. So how many faces are there for a crystal? So each crystal having 6 faces. So front and back, left side, right side, top and bottom. So totally there are 6 faces. So every crystal having 6 faces. So these are the faces: front face, back face, left side face and right side face, and also top and also bottom. So each crystal having 6 faces. And how many corners? How many corners? So first corner, second, third and fourth. So these are the 4 corners at bottom. Similarly, fifth one, sixth and 7 and finally 8. Therefore each crystal having 8 corners. Each crystal having 8 corners. And how many edges? So look at the edge. So this is one edge, second one, third one, fourth one. So there are 4 edges at bottom. Similarly, fifth one, 6, 7 and 8. So again 4 edges at the top, and this is 9th one, and this is a 10th edge, this is 11th edge, and finally 12th edge. Therefore each crystal having 12 edges. So these are the points. Each crystal having 6 faces and 8 corners as well as 12 edges. So in the rectangular plane, so this is a plane passing through opposite faces. So imagine any plane that is passing through opposite face, that is maybe above the plane and also below the plane, or left hand side or right hand side, and also top and bottom. So if suppose, so I consider this is a plane. So this is a plane. This plane is passing through 2 opposite faces, so above and below. So that imaginary plane passing through this crystal as opposite faces, and also this plane cuts the crystal into 2 equal halves. So this is the left hand side of and this is the right hand side of, but both are mirror images. That means both are equal. So it cuts the crystal into 2 equal halves. Therefore this plane is known as a rectangular plane. Therefore any imaginary plane passing through opposite faces, if it cuts the crystal into two equal halves, then that plane is nothing but a rectangular plane. So each crystal having 6 faces, therefore how many number of rectangular planes? So each plane is passing through two opposite faces. So there are 6 faces, therefore total number of rectangular planes is equal to 3, because there are 6 faces, therefore there exist 3 rectangular planes, all are passing through 2 opposite faces. So 6 faces means there are 3 rectangular planes. So this is about rectangular plane of symmetry. And the second one is dihedral plane of symmetry. So plane of symmetry is 2 types. First one is rectangular and the second one is dihedral or simply diagonal. Diagonal plane of symmetry. So diagonal plane of symmetry is nothing but, first of all, it is a plane. That means it is passing through crystal and cuts the crystal into 2 mirror images. And here diagonal. So diagonal plane means it is a plane passing through opposite edges. Passing through opposite edges of a crystal. So in this case, again imagine a plane, that plane is passing through opposite edges of a crystal. If it cuts the crystal into 2 equal halves, then that plane is nothing but a diagonal plane. So again consider the crystal structure. So this is again a cubic crystal, that means all the length of the faces are equal. So here how many edges? There are 12 edges. So if suppose I consider a plane, that plane is passing through opposite edge. So that is, this is the opposite edge for this edge. So both are opposite. If suppose I imagine a plane, that plane is passing through opposite edges, then it cuts the crystal into 2 equal halves. So top equal and also bottom, both are equal, both are mirror images. Therefore this plane is passing through opposite edges and also cuts the crystal into 2 equal halves. That is why this crystal or this plane is nothing but diagonal plane. So it is passing through opposite edges, but there are 12 edges. There are 12 edges in a cube. Therefore how many diagonal planes are there? So there are 6. Therefore number of diagonal plane of symmetry, diagonal plane of symmetry for a crystal is equal to 6, because there are 12 edges. So out of 12 edges, each plane is passing through 2 opposite edges. Therefore the number of possibility of diagonal plane of symmetry for a crystal is equal to 12 by 2, that is equal to 6. So this is all about plane of symmetry. So totally there are 2 types of planes. First one rectangular plane and the second one dihedral plane. Each crystal having 3 rectangular planes and also each crystal having 6 dihedral planes. So this is a rectangular plane and this is dihedral plane. So rectangular plane is passing through opposite faces and dihedral plane is passing through opposite edges. Therefore totally each crystal having 3 plus 6, that is 9 plane of symmetry. So total number of planes exist for a cubic crystal is equal to 9. So each cubic crystal having 3 rectangular planes and 6 dihedral planes. Therefore the total number of plane of symmetry exist for a cubic crystal is equal to 3 plus 6, that is equal to 9. So this is all about law of symmetry, first one, that is plane of symmetry. So stop here today, and afternoon session I will start axis of symmetry as well as center of symmetry. Thank you.